Personally, I would like to compete at a super high level. So with powerhouses such as Kazakhstan, Georgia, the Russians, try to be on par with them, beat them one day as well. Hi, my name is Valen, and I'm an arm wrestler. Three words to describe what arm wrestling means to you. Lessons, purpose, lifestyle. It has to be a lifestyle to integrate into my lifestyle so that I can actually train for the sport. Through arm wrestling, I learned different life lessons which can be implemented into arm wrestling and off the arm wrestling table. I feel that we have to have a purpose in life so that we are heading into the right direction and we have a sense of purpose of what we want to do. What is a day in the life like for you? Because I'm a personal trainer, I wake up rather early, sometimes 5+, to train clients. Then after that I come back, I eat, I train myself. And then after I train myself, I train clients again, I eat, and then I train myself again. So it's a lot of training the entire day. So on a typical program, training while preparing for let's say the World Championships, if you count by the frequency of the number of days, it would be 6 days a week. And then on different days, we'll do different training blocks and programs for the sport of arm wrestling. What is the training regime like when you are competing? Since arm wrestling is like a very specific sport, there's a specific training towards arm wrestling and non-specific training, which is like a general strength and conditioning training. So it could be like Monday, I'm training, let's just say wrist and hand, specifically on the arm wrestling table with a cable. And then, like in the evening, I will train the general body strength and for the muscles as well. On top of that, you have to do some sort of cardio to keep up the cardiovascular system, and if you're cutting weight, you have to be in a caloric deficit as well. What do you think gives you the biggest advantage in arm wrestling? Number one would be genetics, like what you're born with. Genetics only can take you so far. To unlock that potential, we have to do some sort of training or have the right mindset or heart towards the sport. Actually, living in Singapore is an advantage itself. We are so globalized. So much information is out there. Actually, I'm able to actually collect information with different arm wrestlers, whether it's on the internet or meeting different arm wrestlers from around the world to learn about how their training is like and how they actually arm wrestle. Are there any tips and tricks for beginners? Arm wrestling is like about the hand, right? So if you want to grip high, you want to grip low on someone, pull towards yourself instead of going towards the pin pad. So grip high, pull towards yourself, open your opponent up. When you open your opponent up, you open up their leverages. What got you into arm wrestling and why arm wrestling? So I was arm wrestling in secondary school. The competitiveness between two boys that say, hey, come let's arm wrestle because we have a table here. And it's between school breaks, right? So it's like 5-10 minutes, we don't have much time to do other things. So we want to hey, come let's try who is stronger. During Sec 1, I could win some. Secondary 3, of course I had some losses as well. And then because of those losses, right, you're like, hey, how do I actually beat that opponent? And start to think about it. It sparked the interest to try to train, go to the gym to find information. How do I train specifically for arm wrestling itself? I decided to go on the internet at a point of time to check if there's any organized professional arm wrestling competitions. And thereafter, I decided to find a Facebook group, and fortunately, they have a competition in Malaysia when I was 16, and after my O-levels, I competed in my first arm wrestling competition. And from there, it snowballed into what I am today. What was the best experience you had from arm wrestling? The adrenaline from competing on the arm wrestling table during the competition itself, and then before and after the competition, you tend to meet different arm wrestlers from different cultures, how they are like, how they train, how they behave. If I were to pick out one moment, it would be the Asian Arm Wrestling Championships in 2014 in Japan. How did people around you react to you wanting to pursue arm wrestling as a passion? I think initially it was quite a stunner, but as time goes by and people tend to recognize you're quite passionate about what you're doing, people tend to accept it and realize it's actually for the better. What are your plans for the future with regards to arm wrestling? Personally, I would like to compete at a super high level, so with powerhouses such as Kazakhstan, Georgia, the Russians, try to be on par with them, beat them one day as well. In Singapore, we talk about nationally to try to bring up the awareness of arm wrestling. So recently, just 2 days back, I competed in the Ultimate Arm Wrestling Championships, which is a local setup and event co-organized by me and Jonathan, my co-founder. It's a professional event, one-on-one championships between 2 arm wrestlers. And before that, we had the national championships, which is more like an organized kind of sport at a sports hall. And upcoming ones, I plan to compete in the World Arm Wrestling Championships in Malaysia later this year in September. So one misconception is that people think it's like not an organized sport, there's no federations. Actually, it is an organized sport since the 1900s, 1960s or 70s, and Singapore is under the International Federation of Arm Wrestling, so it's organized. The second misconception is that having bigger muscles, you will definitely win in arm wrestling, which is not true, but true to a certain extent only if you train specifically for the sport. That means if you're an arm wrestler and you have bigger muscles, yes, you're stronger in arm wrestling because you're in a heavier weight class, right? But if you don't train for arm wrestling and you have bigger muscles, you might lose to a lighter arm wrestler which is like 30 or 40 kgs lighter than you. Seeing that you're the president of Singapore Arm Wrestling, how far do you think arm wrestling can go as a sport? Well, as far as we can push arm wrestling, right? We try to bring it to the masses because it's so accessible. You just need one arm wrestling table. You don't need so much equipment. Community level first, and then we try to garner as much athletes as possible to compete at high level competitions. There's no how far it can go. It's only up to your imagination. Do you have anything to say to your naysayers? Nothing much. I think the results speak for itself. I mean, if the naysayers want to prove something, they can try it on their own and do it from their actions. Show me what you got.
In arm wrestling, once again.